Take your hand off her. Gregory's warning cracked across the penthouse music room before Benjamin had even touched Catherine. The blind young woman stood 3 steps from the grand piano, one palm searching the air, while her silver cane rolled beneath a chair. Benjamin froze beside his mop. Every employee in Rachel's residence knew the rule. No one touched the CEO's daughter, not to guide her, steady her, or shake her hand. 8 years earlier, after an accident and months of strangers moving her without permission, Catherine had forbidden it. Staff who forgot were dismissed. Gregory, the estate director, pointed toward the service door. "You clean floors. You do not handle the family." Benjamin needed this job. His 13-year-old son, Samuel, was waiting at home with an overdue school bill beneath the fruit bowl. One complaint could erase their rent by morning. Then Catherine whispered, "The piano is still here, isn't it?" Benjamin glanced at the polished instrument. He had heard she had not played since losing her sight. He also noticed what Gregory had missed. Catherine was not reaching for help. She was measuring the distance with her breathing. 3 steps, Benjamin said. "The bench is slightly to your right." She moved, struck the corner, and recoiled. Gregory reached for the intercom. Benjamin made his choice. He approached slowly and placed 2 fingers against Catherine's wrist, giving her time to pull away. She did not. Her breath shook, but her hand turned and closed around his. Across the doorway, Rachel arrived in a red suit and covered her mouth. Benjamin guided Catherine to the bench. Her fingers hovered above the keys as if over a wound. "Middle C," he murmured. Catherine pressed one key. The note rang through the penthouse. Gregory lowered the intercom. Rachel began to cry, and Catherine tightened her grip on Benjamin's hand instead of letting go. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. It truly helps more stories like this reach you. Then listen closely, because the note Catherine just played did more than break 8 years of silence. It shattered a rule that had ruled Rachel's home. The note faded, but Catherine's hand remained on the key. Benjamin did not move. Her fingers were cold around his, and he could feel the small tremor she was trying to hide. Behind them, Gregory cleared his throat as though the sound itself had violated house policy. "Miss Catherine," he said carefully, "I can call Christine." "No." Catherine's answer came quickly. "I asked him." Rachel stepped farther into the room. She was known in financial circles for ending arguments with a glance, yet now she seemed uncertain where to place her hands. "Catherine," she whispered, "you haven't sat there in 8 years." "I know how long it's been." Benjamin released her wrist, but Catherine caught his sleeve. "Don't leave yet." Gregory's jaw tightened. "This is inappropriate." Benjamin looked toward Rachel. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. Her cane fell and she wanted the piano. I should have called someone." "You should have followed the rules," Gregory replied. Catherine turned toward his voice. "The rule was mine, and it protected you. It isolated me." The words landed harder than the piano note. Rachel lowered her eyes. Benjamin had no place in their argument, but Catherine's fingers were still wrapped around his sleeve. He pulled the bench slightly back so her knees cleared the keyboard, then guided her left hand toward the group of 2 black keys. "Feel those?" he asked. She nodded. "Middle C is just below the pair. You found it once. Find it again." Gregory gave a quiet, disbelieving laugh. "You think one note makes you a music teacher?" "No," Benjamin said. "But she doesn't need a teacher to find one key." Catherine moved slowly. Her fingertip touched the smooth edge of a black key, traveled downward, and pressed. The second note came cleaner. Her mouth opened, not in surprise, but recognition. Benjamin shifted her right hand toward a simple 5-note position. He did not place her fingers. He described the distance between the keys and waited while she discovered it herself. She missed twice. The third time, she played a hesitant sequence. Rachel covered her mouth again. "That was the warm-up she used to play before breakfast," she said. Catherine's shoulders stiffened. "You remember?" I remember every morning. Then why did you let them close the piano? Rachel's answer failed to come. Gregory stepped forward. This has gone far enough. Benjamin, return downstairs. Catherine struck 2 wrong keys at once. The harsh sound made her pull both hands into her lap. Benjamin recognized the reaction. Samuel did the same thing whenever frustration convinced him that a mistake meant he should stop. Mistakes are part of the map, Benjamin said quietly. They tell you where your hands are. Catherine faced him. Who taught you that? My son. He hates being bad at anything. A faint smile touched her lips. How old is he? 13. And you play? Not anymore. Before she could ask why, Gregory reached for Benjamin's shoulder. Rachel's voice changed. Do not touch him. Gregory stopped. She crossed the room, took the intercom from his hand, and placed it on the piano. Catherine, Rachel said, what do you want? Her daughter rested her fingers over the keys. I want Benjamin to come back tomorrow. Gregory stared at Rachel, waiting for refusal. Instead, Rachel looked at the janitor who had just broken the most protected rule in her home. Tomorrow at 6, she said. And until then, no one closes this piano. Benjamin arrived home after 10 that night and found Samuel asleep at the kitchen table, one cheek resting beside an open algebra book. A reheated plate sat untouched near the microwave. Under the fruit bowl, the final notice from Samuel's school remained exactly where Benjamin had left it. Payment was due Friday. Benjamin folded the paper before waking him. You missed dinner again, Samuel murmured. I know. I'm sorry. You always say that. The words were not cruel. That made them worse. Since Carolyn had left for California 4 years earlier, Benjamin had worked whatever hours kept the apartment and Samuel's tuition paid. She called occasionally, usually with promises that became apologies. Benjamin never spoke badly of her, but he had begun trying to be 2 parents by simply working twice as much. Samuel noticed the folded notice. Are they going to make me leave? No. You don't have to lie because I'm 13. Benjamin sat across from him. I'll handle it. How? He had no answer that would not frighten his son. The penthouse job paid better than any position he had found in 2 years, but Gregory could remove him with a single complaint. Benjamin had spent the train ride home replaying the moment he had touched Catherine's wrist. What felt right in the music room now seemed reckless beneath the kitchen's weak light. Samuel studied his hands. You played today. Benjamin looked up sharply. There's dust from piano polish on your cuff, Samuel said. You only rub your thumb like that after you hear music. Benjamin almost smiled. Samuel had inherited his stubborn attention to detail. I helped someone find a few keys. Did you play with her? No. Why not? Benjamin glanced toward the narrow closet where an old electric keyboard had been stored since their last move. Years earlier, he had accompanied singers in hotel lounges and taught beginner lessons on weekends. Then Carolyn left. Samuel needed stability, and music became a luxury measured in hours he could no longer afford. Because I was working, Samuel closed his algebra book. You're always working. The next evening, Benjamin reached the penthouse at 6 precisely. He expected Catherine in the music room. Instead, Rachel waited beside the closed piano with Gregory standing near the windows. Rachel held Benjamin's employment folder. Before you continue, she said, I need to understand why you knew how to guide her. I used to teach beginners. Professionally? Part-time. Gregory opened the folder. He left music 8 years ago. Since then, maintenance, deliveries, night cleaning. No certification in blindness support, therapy, or medical care. I never claimed any, Benjamin said, and yet you touched a vulnerable woman without authorization. Rachel raised one hand, stopping the exchange. Catherine refused 3 specialists this morning. She said she would sit at the piano only with you. Benjamin felt the danger inside the compliment. "I'm a janitor, Ms. Rachel." "You are also the first person she trusted to guide her in 8 years." Rachel placed the folder on the piano. "I will pay you separately for 1 hour each evening. You will not treat her, diagnose her, or make promises. You will help her play." Gregory's posture tightened. "This creates an unacceptable dependency." Rachel faced him. "Or it interrupts one." Benjamin thought of Samuel's notice, the rent, and the son who believed his father was disappearing into work. "How long?" he asked. 2 weeks. He should have accepted immediately. Instead, pride made him say, "I won't be paid to pretend I can fix your daughter." From the doorway, Catherine answered before Rachel could. "Good, because I don't need fixing. I need someone who will stop being afraid of me." Benjamin met Catherine's challenge without answering it. He crossed to the piano and pulled the bench back 2 inches. "Then we begin with a rule," he said. "You decide when I touch your hand, not your mother, not Gregory, not me." Catherine stood still. Then she extended her right hand. "Guide me." Rachel released a breath. Gregory did not. Benjamin placed 2 fingers beneath Catherine's palm and led her to the bench. This time he explained every movement before making it, the distance to the keys, the position of the pedals, the edge of the music stand. When she sat, her shoulders remained tense, but she did not withdraw. For 40 minutes, they worked on a simple scale. Catherine remembered more than she expected, and less than she wanted. Each mistake sharpened her frustration. By the 5th attempt, she struck the keys with the side of her fist. "I used to play Chopin," she snapped. "Now everyone celebrates because I found 5 notes." Benjamin was tired, worried about Samuel, and too proud to soften his reply. "Then stop asking 5 notes to prove who you used to be." Catherine's face hardened. Rachel stepped forward, but Benjamin continued. "You're trying to defeat the piano before you've learned how to meet it again. That isn't courage, it's punishment." Catherine rose so quickly the bench scraped the floor. "Get out!" The words hit Benjamin with the full weight of his mistake. He had spoken to her as he sometimes spoke to Samuel when fear made him impatient. He had been honest, but not kind. He closed the fallboard. "You're right. I crossed a line." Gregory moved toward the door. "I'll escort him downstairs." "No," Catherine said. "I want him to apologize properly." Benjamin faced her. "I'm sorry I used the truth like a weapon. You didn't deserve that." Her expression loosened. "And were you wrong?" she asked. "No." A surprised laugh escaped her. Gregory watched the exchange and understood something had changed. If Benjamin returned night after night, Catherine's trust would no longer pass through him. For 8 years, Gregory had managed her staff, appointments, and nearly every decision involving access to her. He called it protection. It also made him indispensable. He turned to Rachel. Then there must be safeguards, written boundaries, fixed hours. No private contact, no unsupervised sessions. Rachel nodded. Reasonable. Benjamin looked at Catherine. Not all of them. Gregory's eyebrows lifted. If she is always watched, she will perform for the room instead of learning. I'll help only if she can choose whether someone stays. That is not your decision, Gregory said. It is mine, Catherine replied. Rachel hesitated. Benjamin could see love pulling one way and fear pulling harder. Finally, Rachel removed a brass key from her ring and placed it on the piano. This opens the music room. Catherine keeps it. Gregory's voice went cold. You're transferring access to a man hired to mop floors. I'm returning access to my daughter. Catherine found the key and closed her hand around it. Benjamin should have stopped there. Instead, thinking of Samuel's tuition notice, he made the choice that would bind them together. I'll do the 2 weeks, he said, but not for extra pay. Rachel frowned. Why? Because if money is the reason I stay, fear can become the reason I leave. He did not yet understand how expensive that promise would become. For the next 6 evenings, Benjamin entered the music room only when Catherine unlocked it herself. The change seemed small, but everyone in the penthouse noticed. Before, Gregory controlled the schedule. Christine arranged every chair, and Rachel waited outside the door for permission to worry. Now Catherine decided when the session began, whether the curtains stayed open, and how close anyone could stand. Benjamin never touched her without asking. Sometimes she held out her hand, sometimes she refused and found the bench alone. The second way took longer, but Benjamin praised neither speed nor bravery. He simply adjusted the bench after she sat and began with the notes she already knew. By the 4th evening, Catherine could play a full major scale with both hands. By the 6th, she had rebuilt the opening of a piece she used to perform as a teenager. It was not Chopin. Benjamin had chosen a slow American melody with clear intervals and space between the phrases. "You're giving me beginner music," Catherine said. "I'm giving you music that leaves room for mistakes. I hate how much sense that makes. That makes 2 of us." She smiled and started again. Rachel listened from the hallway, unseen by her daughter. She had learned not to enter unless invited. Each night she stood beside the service cart while Benjamin worked, her expensive shoes inches from buckets and folded cloths. On Friday, Benjamin finished early because Samuel had a school meeting. As he reached the elevator, Rachel followed him. "You refused payment," she said, "but you are giving up hours. I made a promise. Promises do not cover tuition." Benjamin stopped. Rachel had not guessed. Gregory had shown her the employment records, including a request Benjamin had submitted for additional shifts. He felt exposed. "My son's finances are not part of this arrangement." "No, but your time is." She offered him an envelope. Benjamin did not take it. "It isn't charity," Rachel said. "Catherine asked me to pay for the hours you no longer spend cleaning upstairs." She asked. "She said your son should not lose his father every evening because she needed a guide." That changed the meaning of the envelope. Benjamin accepted it, but only after Rachel agreed to record the payment as music instruction. He left the penthouse with enough to settle the overdue tuition and still reach Samuel's school before the meeting ended. That night, Samuel studied the receipt at their kitchen table. "You taught 6 lessons and fixed all of this?" "Something like that." Samuel looked toward the closet. "Maybe music wasn't the thing taking you away." Benjamin followed his gaze to the old keyboard. "No," he admitted. "I think I was." At the penthouse the following evening, Catherine was waiting alone. The brass key rested beside her on the bench. "I want to try the whole piece," she said. "You aren't ready." "I know." Benjamin sat beside her, leaving enough space that their shoulders did not touch. Catherine began. She missed the 3rd measure, stopped, and started again. Halfway through, her left hand lost its place. Instead of pulling away, she found the 2 black keys, rebuilt the position, and continued. The final chord arrived unevenly, but complete. Rachel entered before she remembered to ask permission. Catherine turned toward her footsteps. For a second, Benjamin expected anger. Then Rachel said, "May I sit down?" Catherine moved slightly on the bench. Her mother sat on the other side. 8 years of distance narrowed to the width of a piano seat. Catherine lifted her hands again. From the beginning. This time, when she played, Rachel quietly counted the rhythm beneath her breath, the same way she had when Catherine was a child. Catherine did not tell her to stop. Catherine's progress changed the penthouse faster than anyone expected. She began choosing her own clothes, asking Christine to describe colors instead of arranging complete outfits. She ate breakfast at the long table rather than in her room. Twice, she walked to the music room alone, counting steps beneath her breath and refusing Gregory's arm. Each decision pleased Rachel and unsettled Gregory. Benjamin saw the tension, but he also saw something else. Catherine had started measuring every day by his arrival. On Monday, he was 20 minutes late because Samuel's bus had broken down. Catherine was standing beside the locked music room when he reached the penthouse. "You said 6. I know. I'm sorry. No one told me where you were. My son needed me." Her disappointment sharpened into embarrassment. "Of course he did." Benjamin heard the resentment and answered too quickly. "I cannot become another piece of furniture waiting wherever you leave me." Catherine stepped back. Benjamin regretted it immediately, but Gregory had witnessed the exchange. "This is exactly the dependency I warned about," he said. Catherine unlocked the door, entered alone, and shut it behind her. That evening, Benjamin returned home to find Samuel eating cereal from a mixing bowl. The dinner Benjamin had promised remained uncooked. "You could have texted," Samuel said. "I was dealing with something." "You're always dealing with someone else's emergency." Benjamin set down his keys. "Catherine is learning to—" "I know her name. I hear it more than mine." The accusation followed Benjamin into the night. He had believed music was restoring part of himself, but he was repeating the same mistake in a better disguise, giving strangers his patience and bringing exhaustion home. The next afternoon, Gregory called him into the staff office. A formal incident report lay on the desk. It listed unauthorized instruction, emotional boundary concerns, altered duties, and repeated access to a private family area. "You can sign it," Gregory said, "or I can send it to Human Resources without your statement." Catherine asked me to be there. Catherine is vulnerable. She is 26. And you are an employee who needs money. Benjamin felt the insult land where Gregory intended. "You think that makes everything I do suspicious?" "I think need makes people justify a great deal." Before Benjamin could answer, Christine entered with fresh linens and stopped when she saw the report. "Mr. Gregory, should I bring the old music schedules too?" His expression tightened. "What schedules?" "The ones from 3 years ago. Miss Catherine asked for a piano instructor. I arranged interviews, but you told me she had changed her mind." Gregory closed the folder. Benjamin turned toward him. "Did she?" "That matter was handled appropriately." Christine's hands tightened around the linens. "She waited here for 4 mornings." Gregory dismissed her, but the information had already changed the room. Benjamin refused to sign the report. When he reached the music room, Catherine was seated at the closed piano. "I was unfair yesterday," she said. "So was I." He told her he could no longer come every evening. Samuel needed 2 nights that belonged only to him. Catherine nodded, though her fingers curled around the brass key. Then Benjamin asked the question Gregory had hoped no one would ask. 3 years ago, did you request another piano teacher?" Catherine slowly turned toward his voice. "Yes," she said. "My mother told me I canceled." Catherine's answer left Benjamin standing beside the piano with the uncomfortable certainty that the room had been arranged around a lie. She opened the fallboard, but did not touch the keys. "I asked for lessons because I was tired of everyone speaking to me like my life had ended," she said. "Gregory told me Mother believed I was not emotionally ready. Mother told me I had withdrawn the request." Benjamin sat at the far end of the bench. "Did either of you ask the other directly?" "No." The simplicity of it was worse than any conspiracy. Gregory had not needed forged papers or elaborate threats. He had only placed himself between 2 people already afraid of hurting each other. Rachel entered after Catherine requested her. At first, she denied it. Not angrily, but automatically. "You were having panic attacks then," she said. "Gregory told me you became distressed after the interviews." "There were no interviews," Catherine replied. "I sat here waiting for 4 mornings." Rachel's purse slipped from her hand and struck the carpet. Benjamin expected her to turn on Gregory. Instead, she looked at her daughter with a grief that carried no defense. "I should have asked you." "Yes. I thought giving him control would keep you safe." "You gave him my voice." Rachel sank into a chair. The CEO who questioned every number in a billion-dollar company had accepted second-hand answers inside her own home because they protected her from a conversation she feared. Benjamin recognized the pattern because he had practiced his own version of it. He solved Samuel's problems with overtime, envelopes, and promises, then called that presence. Catherine turned toward him. "You knew something was wrong. I suspected Gregory was controlling access. And you didn't tell me." "I wanted proof." Her chin lifted. "Or you wanted to be the one person I trusted." The accusation struck deeper because part of it was true. Benjamin had enjoyed being necessary. Each time Catherine waited for him, each time Rachel thanked him, the forgotten musician inside him felt valuable again. He had told himself he was giving Catherine independence while building every session around his arrival. "I made myself the doorway," he admitted. "That was wrong." And Catherine stood and found the edge of the piano without help. "So stop." The lesson that evening did not happen. Instead, Catherine made a list. She wanted direct access to her schedule, her transportation, her correspondence, and every decision concerning her care. Rachel agreed to review each item with her personally. Benjamin offered to help identify another instructor, someone trained to adapt technique without treating blindness as an illness. Catherine's expression hardened. "You're leaving?" "No, I'm changing my job." "You promised 2 weeks." "I promised to help you play. I never promised to make you depend on me." Gregory appeared in the doorway before Rachel could summon him. He had heard enough. "These accusations are being built on the memory of a staff member and a distressed woman," he said. Catherine reached into her pocket and placed the brass key on the piano. Gregory relaxed too soon. "I don't need permission to enter my own room," she said. "Keep the key." Then she faced Rachel. "Tomorrow I'm going downstairs. I want to see every schedule Gregory has controlled in my name." Rachel nodded. Benjamin understood then that the piano had never been the real prison. It had only been the first locked door Catherine was finally ready to open. The next morning, Catherine came downstairs before breakfast. She refused Gregory's arm and asked Christine to walk half a step behind her, speaking only when the hallway changed direction. Rachel followed in silence. Benjamin was polishing the lobby's brass rail when the elevator opened, and the sight of Catherine beyond the penthouse unsettled employees who had been taught to treat her absence as normal. Gregory was waiting beside the reception desk with 3 binders. "I maintained these records according to your mother's instructions," he said. "My mother's instructions or yours?" Catherine asked. He did not answer directly. Inside the staff office, Rachel read appointment logs aloud. Music consultations had been cancelled. Mobility training had been postponed twice. Invitations from former classmates had been marked declined without Catherine's signature. Gregory defended each choice with the same word: stability. "You were suffering," he told her. "Your mother was overwhelmed. Someone had to make decisions. You decided that because I was frightened, I should never be allowed to choose badly," Catherine said. "So you made every choice for me. I prevented setbacks. You prevented movement." Benjamin stood near the door until Catherine asked him to remain. He wanted to defend her, but he understood that speaking for her could become another form of control. Rachel closed the last binder. "Effective today. No decision concerning Catherine is valid unless she hears it directly and answers for herself." Gregory's calm cracked. "You are letting a janitor's influence dismantle 8 years of careful protection." Catherine turned toward Benjamin. "He is not making this decision." Then, to his surprise, she added, "And he will not be my only instructor." The words hurt, though they were exactly what he had recommended. Rachel had arranged for Deborah Coleman, a piano teacher experienced with blind adults, to visit the next afternoon. Catherine wanted Benjamin present for the first session, then only twice a week. "That is the right choice," he said. Catherine heard the restraint. "You sound relieved." "I am." and disappointed. He could have denied it. Instead, he said, "Yes." Their honesty did not bring comfort this time. Gregory used the opening. Since Benjamin's duties never included instruction, he will return to the overnight maintenance rotation. That schedule begins tonight. Rachel looked up. "You changed his shift?" "We have staffing shortages below ground." Benjamin knew what Gregory was doing. The overnight rotation would end Catherine's evening sessions and leave him asleep during Samuel's afternoons. Gregory could call it operational necessity because, on paper, it was. Rachel reached for the schedule, but Benjamin stopped her. "If you reverse every decision because it hurts me, he'll claim I'm using this family." Catherine's voice tightened. "So you'll disappear?" "No, but I won't let you trade one person controlling your life for another person protecting mine." That evening, Benjamin missed dinner again. Samuel waited awake, not angry this time, which felt worse. "I thought Tuesdays were ours," he said. Benjamin removed his work jacket. "They are." "Then why are you leaving?" Benjamin looked at the clock, then at the son he had already asked to accept too many explanations. He called the maintenance office. "I won't take the overnight rotation," he said, when Gregory answered. A pause followed. "Then you are refusing a direct assignment?" "Yes." Benjamin ended the call knowing he had finally chosen Samuel, and Gregory now had a legitimate reason to remove him from the penthouse entirely. By morning, Benjamin's refusal had become an official disciplinary matter. He was allowed to finish his shift, but his badge no longer opened the penthouse elevator. Gregory had not fired him yet. He had done something more careful, placed Benjamin where Catherine could not reach him, and waited for policy to finish the work. Catherine learned about the restriction from Christine. She did not call Benjamin. Instead, she asked Deborah to continue the scheduled lesson. Deborah arrived carrying no therapy notes and no voice softened by pity. She sat beside Catherine at the piano and asked, "What do you hear when you miss a key?" "Failure." "Then someone taught you to listen badly." The answer irritated Catherine enough to keep her at the bench. For an hour, Deborah taught her to anchor each hand by shape rather than sight. Benjamin had used words and patience to reopen the door. Deborah showed Catherine how to move through it without him. When the lesson ended, Rachel entered with the same binders they had examined downstairs. She had spent the night reading every entry and comparing them with her own calendar. "I need to tell you what happened 8 years ago," she said. Catherine's hands became still. After the accident, Rachel had tried to control every detail herself. She interviewed specialists, slept beside Catherine's hospital bed, and missed weeks of work. Catherine rejected assistance, screamed when strangers guided her, and once locked herself in a bathroom for 6 hours. One night, exhausted and frightened, Rachel told Gregory, "Handle everything concerning Catherine until I can think again." She never took the authority back. Gregory began filtering appointments and visitors. At first, he reported every choice. Later, Rachel stopped asking for details because his calm answers relieved her guilt. When Catherine refused one suggestion, Gregory treated it as permission to refuse similar choices for years. Catherine turned toward her mother. "You knew he was answering for me." "I knew he was helping. I chose not to examine what helping had become." The admission hurt more than an excuse would have. Gregory was called to the room. He listened without interruption, then said, "This family was falling apart. I created order." "You created dependence," Catherine replied. "I kept this household functioning." His control had not begun with greed. It began when everyone was desperate for someone to decide. Each solved problem made the next decision easier to claim. Eventually, being necessary became Gregory's proof that he was right. Rachel had allowed it because delegation felt safer than facing Catherine's anger. Catherine had accepted it because fighting through grief required strength she did not yet have. And Benjamin, in only 2 weeks, had nearly repeated the same pattern for a different reason. He enjoyed being the one Catherine awaited. He had called it guidance while tying her progress to his arrival. The truth did not leave one villain and 3 innocent people. It left 4 adults facing the cost of choices that had once felt protective. Catherine placed both hands on the keys. "Benjamin showed me I could begin," she said. "Deborah is showing me I can continue. Mother, you are going to learn to ask. Gregory, you are no longer deciding for me." Gregory's breathing changed. "And Benjamin?" Rachel asked. Catherine found middle C and pressed it once. "He has to decide whether helping me is worth losing his job." Downstairs, Benjamin was handed a statement admitting misconduct. If he refused to sign before 5, he would be dismissed without a reference. Benjamin read the statement twice. It said he had exceeded his authority, encouraged emotional dependence, ignored household protocol, and refused a lawful reassignment. Some of it was false. Some of it was painfully close to true. Frank, the building supervisor, stood across the desk with his arms folded. "You sign, you keep a basic reference," he said. "You don't sign, Gregory marks you as terminated for misconduct." Benjamin thought of the school receipt on Samuel's table, the rent due in 9 days, and every application that would ask why his last job ended. Then he thought of Catherine placing her hand in his. He set down the pen. "I won't sign a confession written by the man I'm disputing." Frank exhaled through his nose. Pride does not feed a kid. No, but neither does teaching him that fear gets to write the truth. At 4:58, Benjamin's badge was deactivated. The elevator doors opened into the lobby as he carried his work jacket and lunch container in a paper bag. Employees pretended not to watch. Christine did not pretend. She crossed the floor and hugged him before anyone could stop her. "You gave her something back," she said. "No," Benjamin replied. "She took it back." Outside, rain had begun. He sat beneath the stone awning and called Samuel. "I lost the job." Silence filled the line. "Because of the piano?" Samuel asked. "Because I refused an assignment, and because I refused to sign something I believed was wrong." "Are we going to have to move?" Benjamin closed his eyes. "I don't know." That was the answer he had spent years trying to keep from his son. Not poverty, not failure, uncertainty. Samuel stayed quiet, then said, "Come home." Benjamin wanted to believe the request meant forgiveness. Instead, when he reached the apartment, he found Samuel packing school books into a cardboard box. "What are you doing?" "Making it easier." "For what?" "If I leave the school now, we save money. I can go back next year." Benjamin stared at him. "You are not giving up your school. You gave up your job to protect a choice. So am I." The words struck with terrible precision. Benjamin had taught Samuel that sacrifice proved love, then expected him not to imitate it. He took the box from his son and placed it on the floor. "No, this is my responsibility." Samuel's eyes filled. "That's what you always say before you disappear to fix it." Benjamin could not defend himself. At the penthouse, Catherine completed her first full session with Deborah without asking where Benjamin was. Only after the final chord did she learn that he had been dismissed. Rachel expected anger. Catherine stood so quickly the bench tipped backward. "You let Gregory fire him?" "I challenged the decision." "You challenged it or stopped it?" Rachel did not answer fast enough. Catherine turned toward Gregory's office. "This ends now." But when she reached the hallway, she stopped. If Rachel simply restored Benjamin's job because Catherine demanded it, they would prove Gregory's argument that personal attachment had replaced professional judgment. Benjamin would return under a cloud, and every future choice Catherine made would be blamed on him. For the first time, she understood the shape of his refusal. She went back to the piano and called Benjamin herself. He answered after the 4th ring. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" for thinking your job was the price of helping me. Benjamin looked at Samuel's packed box. It wasn't, he said. My son was. The words hurt them both. Catherine rested her hand over middle C but did not press it. Then don't come back for me, she said. Come back only if we can make this right for both of you. Benjamin heard, beneath her grief, the possibility they had been building all along. Not rescue, not dependence, but a choice shared by three people who finally understood what neglect could cost. Benjamin did not sleep. Samuel's cardboard box remained beside the kitchen table, half filled with books. Every time Benjamin passed it, he saw the result of a lesson he had never meant to teach, that love was measured by how much of yourself you erased. At dawn, he pulled the old electric keyboard from the closet. One key sat lower than the others. Samuel appeared in the doorway. You're keeping me home? No, I'm taking you with me. To the penthouse? To finish what I started correctly. Benjamin called Rachel and requested one meeting in the music room with Catherine, Gregory, Deborah, Christine, Frank, and Samuel. No lawyers, no press, no board members. Only the people whose choices had built the problem. Gregory refused. Rachel overruled him. At 10, Benjamin entered as a visitor. Samuel carried the cracked keyboard. Catherine sat at the grand piano with Deborah beside her. Christine and Frank waited near the doorway. Gregory remained by the windows. Benjamin placed two papers on the piano, the disciplinary statement and a proposal written at his kitchen table. If I sign the first, I protect my reference by accepting things that aren't true. If Rachel restores my old job because Catherine wants me here, Gregory can call it favoritism. Rachel gripped the statement. So I choose neither. Benjamin proposed resigning voluntarily from maintenance. In return, his record would state the truth, including his refusal of the overnight assignment and the reason for the dispute. Separately, Catherine could hire him for 2 weekly music sessions for 1 month, supervised by Deborah and reviewed by Catherine, not Gregory or Rachel. The proposal also required every future schedule involving Catherine to be read directly to her before anyone acted on it. No assistant could decline an invitation, cancel an appointment, or approve a change without her answer being recorded in words she had actually spoken. Gregory laughed without humor. You're negotiating after being dismissed. No. I'm admitting I made mistakes too. Benjamin faced Catherine. I encouraged you to depend on my arrival. I spoke harshly when you were frustrated. I let feeling needed distract me from my son. Helping you cannot cost him what your recovery cost your mother. Samuel stared at the floor, but his shoulders loosened. These sessions happen only after I'm home for dinner, only if Samuel agrees, and only while you continue with Deborah. I won't become your doorway again. Catherine rested her palms on the piano lid. And if Rachel refuses? I leave with the truth intact. And if I refuse? I leave knowing you chose. Her breathing changed. Gregory stepped forward. He has placed a child in the center of an employment dispute. Samuel looked up. My dad didn't bring me as evidence. He brought me because I'm part of the choice. It was the only thing he said. Rachel picked up the disciplinary statement. For 8 years, she had let fear choose efficiency over relationship. Now she could protect procedure, protect Gregory's authority, or protect the truth her daughter had finally spoken. She tore the statement in half. Gregory's expression emptied. Rachel placed Benjamin's proposal beside Catherine's hand. This decision belongs to her. Deborah read every sentence aloud. Catherine listened without interruption. When she finished, Catherine held out her hand, not toward Benjamin, but toward Samuel. Will you agree to share 2 evenings? Samuel took it. Only 2. Catherine smiled. Only 2. Then she turned toward Gregory. Now we decide what your protection has cost. Gregory did not answer Catherine's question. He moved toward the door, but Rachel stepped between him and the hallway. She did not raise her voice. She simply placed the torn disciplinary statement on the table and asked Christine to bring the binders from the staff office. When they arrived, Catherine touched the first cover. "Read the cancellations," she said. Gregory's jaw tightened. "This is humiliation, not accountability." "No," Catherine replied. "Humiliation is being told your own choices are too dangerous to hear. Accountability is saying what you did while the people affected are present." Rachel opened the first binder. One by one, she read the entries aloud. A former teacher turned away. A mobility appointment postponed. 3 invitations declined. 2 interviews canceled. Each line had been written in Gregory's neat hand. He defended the first few. Catherine had been unstable. Rachel had been absent. Staff needed instructions. By the 6th entry, his explanations began sounding like repetitions of the same fear. Finally, Christine spoke. "You told us Miss Catherine became distressed whenever anyone mentioned music." "She was distressed because no one came." Gregory looked toward the windows. "And what would you have done? Let every hopeful stranger enter this home? Let her fail in front of them? Let Rachel watch her break again?" Benjamin heard the truth beneath the control. Gregory had not only wanted power, he had been terrified of the disorder that would return if Catherine needed less of him. Catherine stood. "Benjamin," she said, "will you guide me to the piano?" The request silenced every argument. Benjamin approached but stopped an arm's length away. "How?" "Your hand under mine, just like the first day." She placed her palm over his fingers. He led her 3 steps, describing nothing she did not ask to know. At the edge of the bench, Catherine released him. Then she took one more step alone. She sat, found the 2 black keys, and placed her hands in position. Gregory turned back. "A performance does not erase risk." "No," Catherine said, "but risk does not erase my right to live." She began the melody Benjamin had chosen for her first week. The opening notes were steady. In the middle, she missed an interval. 8 years earlier, a mistake would have ended the piece. This time, she paused, felt for the shape of the keys, and continued. Deborah did not correct her. Rachel did not count. Benjamin did not touch her. Samuel stood beside the battered keyboard he had carried from home and quietly played the final chord an octave higher. Catherine heard him, smiled, and repeated the chord on the grand piano. The 2 instruments, one polished and one cracked, filled the room together. When the sound faded, Catherine faced Gregory. "You protected me when I could not protect myself. I will always remember that. But you kept protecting me after protection became permission to control me." Gregory's shoulders lowered. "I was the one who stayed," he said. "Yes, and then you made staying more important than listening." Rachel walked to her daughter's side. "Your position as estate director ends today. Frank will manage building operations temporarily. You will receive the salary and reference your years of service earned, but you will never again make a decision in Catherine's name." Gregory looked at Benjamin as if expecting triumph. Benjamin offered none. Catherine waited. At last, Gregory said, "I canceled the lessons because I believed another failure would destroy the stability I had built. I told myself I was sparing you. I was also afraid that if you became independent, there would be no place for me here." His voice roughened. "I am sorry, Catherine." She did not rescue him from the discomfort. Gregory turned to Christine. "I dismissed your concerns because they threatened my authority. I am sorry." Then to Benjamin, "I used your need for work against you. I wrote a statement that mixed your mistakes with my resentment. I am sorry." Benjamin nodded once. "Thank you for saying it." Rachel signed Benjamin's proposal. Deborah signed as supervising instructor. Catherine added her name last, guiding the pen across a raised signature line that Deborah placed beneath her fingers. Then Samuel pointed to the brass key still lying near the piano. "What happens to that?" Catherine picked it up. It used to mean someone had given me permission. She walked to the music room door, found the lock, and turned the key. Then she removed it and handed it to Rachel. "Keep it for emergencies," she said. "The door stays open." 3 months later, Benjamin no longer wore a maintenance uniform. He taught 2 evenings a week at the penthouse and spent the others at home. During the day, he repaired instruments for a neighborhood music shop, work Frank had helped him find after hearing about the broken keyboard. Samuel remained at school. He still complained about algebra, still ate cereal from oversized bowls, and enforced the 2-evening agreement more strictly than any contract. Catherine continued studying with Deborah. She did not become a concert prodigy, nor did music erase the anger and fear of 8 lost years. It gave her a place where mistakes could be heard without becoming verdicts. Rachel learned to ask before helping. Sometimes Catherine accepted her arm, sometimes she did not. Neither answer was treated as rejection. On a quiet Sunday, Benjamin arrived to find Catherine seated at the piano with Samuel beside her. Above them, the brass key hung from a small hook, no longer guarding anything. Catherine heard Benjamin pause in the doorway. "Are you going to stand there all afternoon?" "I was waiting to be invited." She moved along the bench, leaving space. Benjamin sat on one side. Samuel took the other. Catherine lifted her hands, found middle C, and began. No one guided her this time, but no one left her alone.